Let's create some junk journal tag decorations using some fuzzy cut flowers and some tiny bits and pieces from your stash. Enjoy! Hi there, this is Luise Heinzel. Welcome back to my channel Junk Journal Art. Nice to see you here. So today I'm working on some ephemera for my Teabag Birds junk journal. So as you can see, it's still a bunch of paper. So I have my signatures and I want to make some embellishments, of course, for this journal. So in my last video, I've shown you how to make the back side for those tags that you printed out at home from a digital printable paper collection. So this is the front side. As you can see, this is the printout that comes from my ephemera pack that matches this papers here with this Teabag Birds. And I showed you how you can make this background here out of a masterboard. So if you missed any video of this series, I have linked the whole playlist down below in the description box. So just check this description box and click the playlist if you want to see the other videos. And yeah, since these backgrounds came out so cute and so beautiful, I would like to make some really, yeah, tiny decorations, some, yeah, how can I say that they are decorated, but that you still have the chance to journal on and that it's not too overloaded or that stuff. But I want to have something on the back side of this text as well. So I decided to use some fuzzy cut flowers. So I've already fuzzy cut them out. As you can see here, they come from a vintage book. So yeah, they are a little bit glossy, but they have this gorgeous vintage colors that are really beautiful for this journal, I think. And then I have some tiny bits and pieces from my stash in some neutral colors. So these are some tickets, as you can see, or also some cutouts, also this fuzzy cut things from some books. And yeah, I think, excuse me, you could use nearly everything that you have, but I would recommend to use some neutral things for the background and some colorful things like flowers or birds or that stuff for the foreground. So yeah, let's start with this thing here. I think that could be great. So here, there's this little writing here on the right side, and I think that's the most interesting part that came out of this masterboard that we cut, yeah, I would say blind. So if you saw the last video, you have seen me cutting this without seeing which part of the masterboard I have cut. And I think I would just like to put another paper scrap that has this, yeah, some kind of writing on top to the foreground of the masterboard, if that makes sense. So, oopsala, perhaps like this, so that we have this writing of the masterboard here, and there's more clear writing here. And now I think we can choose a flower that would fit here to the foreground. So this has to be, yeah, some kind of tiny thing that's not too big, so that we can still have space for some words or a tiny quote or that stuff. I think I have really really big flowers here. So for example, this one, if we perhaps cut this, but I can't see anything of this writing there in the back, that's not so good. So let's try it like this, for example. Do I like that? I think that's too much. So let's just try. Hopefully that will work. To make this a little bit smaller, perhaps like this. And then perhaps just put it like this. Yeah, I think that's better. So now you have much negative space around here so that you can still journal there, or for example write a poem, or yeah, some tiny words, or some, how is that called, this little quote things that we all love. Okay, so I think that's totally enough. So as you can see, that's really, really simple, but I think now this tag makes some kind of sense. So if you would put it into your journal in this direction, you can see this here. You could also, of course, take a piece here, a piece here of this thing and put it here, for example. So yeah, why not? So that you have something of this flower on the front side as well. But I think it looks beautiful from the front and from the back. So no matter in which direction you put this to your journal, it will look nice. And when you turn it around, you have, yeah, some kind of a little surprise or that stuff. So for example, like this, I think that looks also really nice with this white frame and this white gesso that's here in the background of the printable. And when you turn it around, it's like this. And I think, yeah, it doesn't need so much on such a tag to make it look beautiful. So let's take another of these tiny ones. And I think here is really much going on in the background already. So I think I will just take a flower and put it here without putting any additional stuff in the background. Perhaps like this. It's a little bit big. What about this one? Okay, so perhaps we can put it in this direction. And what about putting just a tiny bit of interest here? Perhaps this number. Yeah, I think that's great. So don't overthink such things, but just do it and just glue it. I think that's sometimes also a relaxing thing and a thing that can make sense if you don't think about things too much and make your decision a little bit faster than you would do it normally. I think that's not so bad. Now it looks like this. And as I said, of course, you can also decorate the front side as well, but in this video I would like to concentrate to this background, because that's the thing that I showed you in the last video. And I want to continue this series so that it makes sense and not confusing you with hopping from the one side to the other. So I think that's too much for the background. Perhaps we can also use a piece of this writing here, or even, what about this tiny thing here? Perhaps we can make an illusion of a little tuck spot here, perhaps like this. So of course I will glue it completely, but I think yeah, when it's glued like this, it can look like the illusion of a tuck spot, so that you think you could take this flower out. Why not? And of course you could also distress all these tiny bits and pieces. Why not? But yeah, for my project it's not necessary, I would say. Or yeah, it's also some kind of contrast between distressed things and not distressed things in the journal that I have there on my desk. And I want to leave this contrast through the journal. So I'm not distressing everything this time, but of course you can do that like you want it. So what about putting this tiny label here? perhaps like this. But I also think this is totally enough. Of course, we can add some ribbon or that stuff. We could distress the hole and such things. But yeah, for this video, as I said, I want to concentrate to this tiny elements itself and not to this whole rest. So I don't want to make a tag tutorial from start to finish, but this is all about using these tiny things that we all have. And even if this is a little bit big, I think I like it. So what about this side here? That would also be really nice, because the background, I think, fits a little bit better. I'm not sure. Because I still want to have the space to journal on. So let's glue this one to the front. I'm also trying to get the glue of the glue stick not everywhere to the back side of this thing, because I want to have this a little bit three-dimensional. As you can see now, this comes off here a little bit, and I think that's nice when it's not glued totally and it looks a bit, yeah, more junky and more handmade, that you don't get the imagination that this is printed to this thing here, but that it is just glued there. And now I have the problem that there is this little thing. I don't like that. So let's try just to cover that up by taking perhaps a piece of this lace, putting this to the back side. So I think that would just solve the problem when we put this here like this. Perhaps that's a little bit too long. No, perhaps like this. Yeah, just a little bit using your fingernail tool and do it like this. Of course, you can do it as much as you wanted. This is a really strange material, as you can see, but I think that looks cute when this is, yeah, in this in this way. So yeah, I'm just thinking about if something is missing here. Perhaps we can use one of those. I've just lost it. Where is it? Here we go. Perhaps we can use this thing here that comes also with the ephemera pack. Perhaps like this. I think that's not bad. I've just distressed the edges of this little label so that it looks a little bit more dimensional. So I did that before I started recording this. So I mean, when I cut out the ephemera pieces from this pack, I just distressed the edges with a bit of vintage photo, and I think that's nice. And I think the backside also don't need any more of this thing, because yeah, you can journal here. Perhaps we could add a tiny thing here so that here is not this straight edge. Perhaps we could use just a tiny button, but I don't know if I have one here that will fit. Perhaps this one. Why not? And because of the fact that the lace here is really thick, so let me just try to get this a little bit more like on the other side. I should have done this before I glued it, but I haven't thought about it, sorry. So that when I now put this here, it looks a little bit more in this context of the whole thing. And now I will take a liquid glue, so not my glue stick, because this will then stay there forever if I use this glue. Please use a really strong glue. And then if you want to glue buttons, put it there where you want it, and then take such a clamp or a similar clamp and just put it there until this whole thing is dry. Then the button will stay there forever. So it's a little bit tricky because the lace is such thick, but that should work. So I will just leave this until it is dry, and then we can come back and look at it. Okay, so let's try a bigger one. So this one, for example, so this is the front side. Of course, you can also decide that the front and the back shall fit to each other with this strong colors. So we have this blue and this red and some white and some orange. So of course, for the back side, you could choose something that's in similar colors, or of course you can also do something totally different. What I would not like to do would be this thing here. So this is really pink and this is orange, and for my feelings that doesn't fit to each other. And also such a light color like this rosé kind of pink stuff would not fit in my eyes. But for example, this one would be really nice to the background, because it's not in a in how is that said, in a competition with the other colors. Also this blue I think would work for the back side, because it's not the same and not this contrasting color like this pink and the rosé. I don't know if that makes sense, and I don't know if that are the right words. that's the main fact that I'm not sure about. So I think this would be nearly perfect here with this little thing here in the background that comes from the masterboard. I think that would look really, really nice. And what about using some more lace? Let me just grab a lace that's not such thick as this is. So for example, this one, this is really thin. So I want to have a thin lace when I put it to the bottom of my tag, because of course I want to put this tag into a pocket in my journal later. And when I have some kind of this lace here on the bottom, it's not possible to put this tag into the pocket and take it out without destroying this, because it's really too thick. So let's try this. And if you don't have a lace, of course you can also use some kind of this stuff here, this this muslin stuff, or how is that called? Oh, I think that are the wrong scissors, but okay. So and I just want to play around here a little bit and try to put something of this to the background, perhaps. So, whew, a little bit fragile. Perhaps like this. Okay, so let's make it really, really chunky. For example, like this. Is that too much? And then this on top, and perhaps a little label on top. But I think that is really, it's really a tiny bit too wide. So that I don't want to cover up too much of this flower thing here. So perhaps we can make it a little bit higher like this, and then, but not to this hole there, and then like this, and this on top to get a little bit more texture perhaps. Yeah, why not? Okay, so let's just glue this like so. And then I also will use this liquid kind of glue for this bottom part. And make sure that this is glued really well, so especially this part on the bottom, so when you want to put that into your journal pocket later, that you don't have any problems to take it out. But this is much thinner, so it seems to be a little bit thick, but I can feel that it is much thinner than the other lace. And perhaps we can take this here. Where is this? I have also this thing here in from the ephemera pack, so I think that could look really, really nice. I also like this straight things here, so this stamp here in the background is in this direction. It has this really regular rectangle around it. This lace thing is, yeah, some kind of rectangle, and now this label also fits into this, yeah, shape, or how can I say that? And this also helps to get the tag more easier into and out of the pocket, because when here is some paper that is pressing this down, then this will be a little bit more flat, and the lace and this muslin stuff is peeking out, and it looks not so massive here on the bottom of this thing. Normally I would think about some stamping to the background, but in this case I want to journal here, so I don't put any decorational stuff or texture or that thing here to this other part of the tag, because yeah, I want to leave it really, really simple, and the more decoration you have, the more struggling you will have when you want to journal here, I think. And yeah, in the end this journal will go to my Etsy shop, so I also want to have this really neutral, so that the person who gets the journal has the possibility for own creations and for yeah, her own creativity. And that's the main reason why I'm doing it like this, and yeah, showing you the possibilities that you have with such simple things, and yeah, not so much decoration as you probably would expect, or yeah, how can I say that? So when you make a journal for your own and you want to take it to a travel or that stuff, then you would also like to have the chance to journal somewhere and not have decorated anything, everything. So hopefully that makes sense. So I'm just thinking about using this thing. I have this in my stash forever. But perhaps we can make it look that this comes out there. But for this plan I have to cut this here. Oh my god. I don't know where this has to go. So these are actually two flowers, I think, but they are so close to each other that you, yeah, nearly can't see where is the one and where is the other. So hopefully I'm cutting the right way here. Okay, so let's see. So of course we have to glue it here like this, and now I have, yeah, some kind of a problem because of this wide frame here, because that would of course make no sense that this wide frame is there. So I have to cut the frame off so that it can look like the flower is really in this thing, even if it has this, yeah, some kind of a bottle cap there on top. But of course it's only, yeah, some kind of illusion. But this white thing, I think It's better when it's not there. Yeah, as you can see, I think that looks better. I will cut this here later. And perhaps let's just take such of this thing here and just make a little decoration for this thing there as well. Hopefully that's not too short. Oh my goodness. Don't know. Perhaps this is too short for the plan that I have. Perhaps like this. And like this. I think in a second I will destroy it. Okay, so what do you think? That looks not so bad. It has to be more to the bottom here, so let's just cut this, I think here. So let me just bring this here a little bit more to the other direction like this, and then I will just glue that. I think I first have to put glue to the flower as well, so I think I don't know how to manage that, but let's see. Let's first find the direction for this here, because I think that's the focal point. And now we have some space on the right side. And then let's take this little thing, put this on top, if it still fits. And then glue this here. Okay, so I think it's not bad if this is not totally glued down, because now it looks a little bit more dimensional and more like the flower comes out here. So this little shadow that comes from the natural light makes it, yeah, look, I think a little bit more dimensional as it was before. And this thing here, I will leave that, this scrunchy thing, and it fits to this, that this is, yeah, like this. But I'm just thinking about putting a piece of foam here behind so that it can't be destroyed. I'm back in a second. Okay, so here we go. Hopefully that will work now. Because it would be better, of course, to think about that before gluing this bottle thing. But yeah, you know me. Some things you can only see when you have nearly finished this thing, and yeah, make decisions about tiny foam things like that later. But yeah, I think that's better. Perhaps you can also, if you want to try this, back this bottle with, yeah, some kind of cardstock or that stuff, so that it's not so fragile. But I think that looks really nice. I really like it. Okay, so I think we can do one more. I have some more left, but I don't want to do the same thing here over and over again, even if one tag is not the same as the other. But yeah, let's see. Perhaps we can also make all four at the same time. I'm just checking the front side, but I think we only have a problem, not a problem, but a decision to make here with this green and turquoise tones. I think that would be really great. So even if this will go to the back side, I think it would look really nice. Or also this one, if we put it to the front, would look nice as well. But I think in this case we will go with this one and then cut the rest. And then we have this tiny thing that can also be, I think, really nice for example, like this, and perhaps we can do this little lace trick that we did before when this image goes out of the tag. And oh, what we also perhaps can do is so if you have an image that is like this, so it's, please try to imagine that here in the middle of this image is a mirror. So it seems to be that this part is the same like this. Of course it is not, you can see that, but you can see that when you cut it in the middle, you have an image on the right side and on the left side. So let me show you what I mean. So that's not possible with all of those images. For example, if you would cut this here in the middle, that would make no sense, because you have not this left part of the image and the right part. But in this case, you could use both pieces, and you have two embellishment elements from one image that you had before. And now you can make it like this and like this, and you have two pieces for two tags, and you can also put those really close to each other in the journal later. So that would look really nice as well, I think, when those images are really similar. If you want, of course, you can sew over this thing later again, so that you don't lose the thread here, or perhaps we can try to do it like this, so that we still can see the thread. So of course now there's this straight line from the cut that I made, but I think, yeah, what do you think? I think I like this thread here to be seen more than that the image goes to the very edge of the tag. So I don't know if that makes sense. But of course, please, as I always say, whoo! Yeah, that's one of the that's one of the words I say very often, but that was not the word that I meant. Sorry. You please use what you have and do it like you like it. If you want to cover the thread of your stitching because you like it better that the cut of this image goes to the very edge of the tag, then please just do it. I'm not a teacher that tells you how you have to do that, and that collects your work and says that's bad and that's good. Of course not. So please just do what makes you happy and what you prefer. So why am I putting glue here? Perhaps I want to put something in the background, because there is, let's just try it. I like this writing there on the bottom. I just want to have some more writing, so even if you can't read what's written there, but yeah, you know what I mean. I want to have the context with this writing there, that it is here as well. And what I also want to say, if you want to have some really, how can I say that, really vintage look of this thing, of this whole thing, of course you can go over this collaged stuff with some distress ink later. So when this whole thing is dry and you think, okay, that's not vintage enough for me, then of course you can also take some vintage photo ink or some other brown ink that makes your paper look more old, and go over this with your distressing tool, and then the paper of this book, of course, will get more vintage and more old looking, if you like that. I think it's easier to go over this after gluing instead of doing that after cutting these images here, because when you put this fuzzy cut images to your table and you go over this with your distress tool, then of course the chance that you tear your fuzzy cut images is really high. So when you have glued everything here and now go over this with your distressing tool, that would be really easy and more comfortable than yeah, after cutting the images. So perhaps we can try this out so that you can see the effect. So I'm using here this Distress Oxide ink by Tim Holtz because this paper is really glossy. So the ink stays better here when you use the oxide ink, I think. So for my preference, it is like that. And now you can see it's not a big difference, but it is a difference. So we can do it a little bit more so that you can see it better, what I mean. Yeah, I think I even like this better, even if I am a really big friend of this white stuff around the fuzzy cut images. I like those white frames and that stuff, but I think in this case, when the colors are muted down a little bit, it's much nicer. And don't care about those things when this comes up a little bit and the glue is not enough here and you want to have it flat, then just add a little bit of glue and then you see it's flat. I'm just thinking about if I shall do that on the other things as well. I'm just trying to blend out this ink a little bit more. Of course, with Distress Oxide ink, it's a little bit more difficult to blend the ink, but in some cases I like the oxide ink better than the normal distress ink. Don't know why. Sometimes the color comes out better for my personal preference. Don't know how to explain that, but yeah, of course it belongs to the project that you are working on, and of course it's, yeah, some kind of feeling that you have for this kind of ink. But yeah, what am I talking here? I think that makes a really big difference. Okay, so what else can we do here? We have this little quote here left that also comes with the ephemera pack. I'm just thinking about putting this here, and I had a bird, but I don't know if he will fit. Oh, I think that's not so good. It's too much, and this is not the right optic for this thing. But perhaps on this side here, that looks really naked. So I will just glue that down here, so don't be confused. Because on this tag now it says bird song. What about some lace? Yes, sorry, it says bird song even if there is no bird, but of course this will go into the journal with the birds, so it totally makes sense in the context when it says bird song here on the bottom of the tag. So yeah, just for those people who perhaps are new here and haven't seen the other videos from this series, then it would make no sense to glue this bird song thing to the bottom of this tag where there's a flower. Okay, so now we could leave it like it is. I like this here really much, but in the I have to think about that. I have to put this into a pocket later, and then this is not so good. So I just turn it to the other side, and I will just glue the rest of the lace here to the back side, so that it is not in the way when I'm putting this into my pocket. And I think that's also a nice thing here on the front side of this tag. So it's also, yeah, some kind of decoration, and from this side it looks like this. And we have the same problem here with these things here. I think we could just cut this here. That would be no problem, because it's only the leaves that we cut here. And there on top, I think we have to find a solution. So perhaps we can put another piece of lace there. Perhaps like this, so that will cover up the most of this white thing. And we also have, yeah, a second piece of the same lace here, so that this one is not so lost there. And you can, of course, later put some buttons here or whatever you want. And yeah, this will look simple, but I think really cute from this side. And from the other side, we have solved the problem that, yeah, this stands out there. And I think this lace is really nice in combination with this lace here on the bottom as well. And I think I'm just putting some naked labels here to the bottom in the same style like this one is. And also perhaps going around this thing, so it has to be a little bit longer, like this. Here perhaps as well. So I also, sometimes I also like to have the same style on each tag, so I don't know why. But yeah, if you have different images here on the tag itself, and on the bottom, for example, where this lace is, it's the same optic and the same lace, the same position and that stuff, that can look really elegant in the journal later as well, even if the tags will not be all on one page. But yeah, of course you will not see them all at once when you go through the journal, but yeah, you know what I mean. You have, your eye has seen this style, and then it can remember this style when you go through the journal, and you will see this later on as well. And I think that's a nice thing. And that's also the reason why I like to use the same lace when I work in a journal. So I don't like, yeah, when it's a lace themed journal, of course, then I can take different kinds of laces. But when it's another theme, so for example, this bird theme goes really nice with lace, or floral journals also like to have lace. The journal tells you that it likes to have lace. Then I like to use not too much different patterns of the lace, I mean. So when you see this and you imagine that this is in the journal later in different places, your brain will yeah, see this lace again, and it will know it, and when it will think, okay, that's nice, and that it is the same lace. Perhaps we could use this as a label. Is that too much? I don't know. Let's see. Why not? But I think it has to go in this direction, and I think we have to distress it. So let me just cut some more of these. So I need 1, 2, 3. And for those labels, I also like to use the rest of the ink on my tool here, because I think in the most cases that's enough for, okay, so here I have to do it on the other side because there's a writing on this side. It's enough to make this little label old when you use the rest of this ink on the distressing tool. So for me it's enough. And when you would take the brush and go into your distress ink and then go, oops, okay, it has 2 layers, sorry. When you take the distressing tool and when you then go into your ink, then it can happen that you have way too much ink on your brush for this little label, and when you then go over it, it can happen that you have much too much ink on this label, and that would also be not so great. So yeah, I'm just using the rest that I have there, and I realize that this has 2 layers, but that is not so bad, because then the label is really sturdy in the end, and when you want to write a word or something like that to it, then that would be a nice surface to write on, because the lace is underneath, and I think this is much easier to write. Yeah, okay, so I think that's it. I will just go through my stash and search for some ribbon or that stuff that I can put here through the holes. I will just do that, and then I will be back, and then I will show you the totally finished result. So as I said, that was not the reason why I made this video, so you all know what to do with this hole, so I don't want to bore you with this stuff, but I want to show you the end result of this cute little thing. So yeah, in a second you will see that, and I hope you will enjoy. So see you in a second when this is finished. Okay, so here they are. So I decided to just use a bit of sari silk. So I cut these little things here, and then why is my camera not sharp? Oh no. Sorry. And then I put it through the hole of the tag, as you can see, and then I just stapled it here on the top, so that these things can lay really flat afterwards in the journal. So here is no knot, as you can see, so this is really flat, and it also looks, yeah, some kind of junky when the staples are here, so I like that really much. And yeah, on the other sides I haven't done anything except adding some feathers here and there. So for example, on this one here, I added this feather because I thought it looks really nice, and it's really smooth and that stuff, and it also covers this straight end of the lace here. So as you can remember, we glued this here from the other side and glued it to the back side, and then we have this straight edge here, and on the other one I showed you I made this trick with the with the button to cover this straight edge, and yeah, that was the same here. So I decided to glue this feather, and I think they also look really cute in combination, and yeah, because the feather had the colors that I needed, I think it's a great thing. So this looks like this now with a sari silk on top, and I also used those protector rings to put them around the holes, and I think that makes such tags, yeah, also a bit more filigrane, and you can see that someone thought about something when he made the tags. So I always like those things around the holes, even if it's only a small detail. But I think it makes a really big difference if you use them or if you don't use them. And also if you don't want to use them, yeah, it's some kind of difficult to get distress ink here in this little hole. So I think that's also a fast and easy way, if you don't want to distress this hole, or if you're not able to distress the hole, yeah, to make a beautiful thing on the top of this tags. And yeah, I think also when you see the staples from the back side, I think it's not so bad. I think, yeah, you could cover this here, so where the ends of the staples come together, it looks not such nice, as you can see, but you could cover this with also a tiny button or a piece of tiny paper or that stuff, or I don't know, a pearl, or that kind of tiny thing. But I think it's okay for me because it's a junk journal and I want to see how those things were made. Yeah, and so this is the same as it was before. This is the other side, and here I'm really happy now because I just applied this feather here to this little bottle, and I think that looks really cute now. This third blue thing, so 1, 2, 3, this third blue thing is peeking out here, and when you blow some air, you can see that makes a really special effect to this tag. And yeah, that's a really filigrane feather, so it goes like at once, and I think that's a cool thing because now this is hidden a little bit behind the feather and it's not so much blue, and it's also, yeah, some kind of cute addition to this thing, I think. So in the first stadium it was a little bit empty, so this thing, and I think now it looks like a arrangement that you could have for your home decor or something like that. Okay, so yeah, that's still the back side or the front as you would like to see it. And yeah, that's it from me for now. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. I hope you will create your own tags with this, yeah, simple but I think beautiful decoration ideas. I hope you will join me the next time. I don't know until now how I will go on in this series because I'm deciding this step by step while I make that journal. And yeah, I also want to decide what my emotion tells me and what I want to do and what makes me happy. So I can't tell you what will be the next episode of this junk journal series, but of course if you have any wishes or any other things to say, leave a comment, and perhaps you would like to join me with my next video as well, even if you don't know what it will be. So have a great time, stay creative, and see you the next time. Bye bye.